was the first time you ever heard of punk rock?
Oh, 1977. Sex Pistols on NBC News, I believe. Yeah, 77. Or Ramones, actually, Ramones too, earlier in 77, skateboarding with some kids in Grover City.
Over on the Central Coast?
Yes, Central Coast, over by Pismo Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you were skateboarding over there and you heard that they were listening to punk rock.
Yeah. I always was listening to, what do you call it, the early new wave stuff. But I'd heard, that's when I first, I guess, heard the Ramones, the more, I guess, more harder edge, not the typical new wave.
Yeah,
stuff.
Not the Talking Heads or Blondie. It was
Yeah.
harder edge.
Harder edge, just basic beat, just really boom, 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 and that whole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uh-huh. And you liked it.
Oh yeah, I loved it instantly.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it just that. I think the energy was the energy of that skateboarding, and then rediscovering some music that was like hitting the inside of me, I guess. I'd missed that. It was good. It was really good. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first time you heard of punk. You were over there hanging out with the skaters on the Central Coast.
Hanging out with the skaters, just enjoying life, working.
The next step was you moved back to Fresno.
When I moved back to Fresno, started going to the Moga Bowl is where I first got exposed to the Fresno scene. Kind of, I'd seen flyers and stuff like that around, but once I got back into hanging out over there, pretty much just word of mouth, hearing kids talk, kind of found out where things were happening, and didn't know anybody, but I heard of what was going on, and
And who were some of the guys that were at the Moga Bowl that were playing the punk rock and you heard them talking about?
The guys that later on I came to find out, it was Chet Gillette and Eric Suda, I believe Holt, Holt.
Eric Holt?
Eric Holt, yes. A couple of the guys, a couple of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear them talking, and the flyers would be around, so started going to shows, and was just getting out of a marriage and trying to deal with looking for something, and the drugs and the alcohol weren't working. So and then just punk rock came along and just lit a fire under my ass, and just exposure. It was just positive. It was positive. A lot of people seeing it as negative and rowdy or whatever, and I just saw it as life affirming and just very, very freedom.
I saw it as a real positive thing. It never seemed like a negative to me.
Right.
It was positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never could understand when people would say, "Oh, I had to get out of punk rock because I was taking too much drugs."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Dude, I was taking drugs before punk rock.
Right.
And punk rock wasn't the reason why I was, recreating with drugs.
Right. In fact, it helped me get away from some of that
Me too.
other stuff. Because like I said, I was a lot older than everybody
I had
else.
something to live for.
Yeah, I was a lot older than everybody else, and I guess I've got 13, 14 years, pretty much on all these younger punks that were involved in the scene at the time. So
Yeah, you're an older guy.
yeah. But
a little older than those fellas, and you could remember back things in the 70s and the 60s.
oh yeah. But it's weird because I've talked to some friends recently. It seems like the punk rock movement has had a more significant impact on my being more than the early stuff I was listening to in high school. Even though that was fun, even though that was good and fun, and it kind of maybe led up to whatever happened later, but it was the punk rock that just I've just always enjoyed that music a whole lot more.
What was some of the music or things you were into right before you discovered punk rock?
New wave,
bands? You liked
bands? Yeah, I liked the new wave back then. Well, when I was in high school, it was
even before new wave. Right?
Yeah. In high school, I grew up Pink Floyd, Buffalo Springfield, all that. Just all not AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple. Who, as a matter of fact, every time they came to Fresno, I think all 3 times, I've never got to see them. I never made it past the second band. But anywho's.
Interesting. So
Yeah, stuff like I was always a heavy metal person. Like in '72, you know, Alice Cooper was breaking out. David Bowie, which a lot of us were even in Kingsbury, we were getting shit if we were the different kids. We were listening to David Bowie, you know, that Homo and you know Crossdresser and and this and that, and all the other kids were listening to you know all that regular Foghat and Judas Priest, and all that metalhead stuff. So punk rock record. Not being young, couldn't go to all the shows in LA or Frisco. My first shows I actually went to were the Capitol Punishment shows at the Barstow Warehouse. Some of those, and then like I said, the Roding Park gig, the Belmont Ballrooms.
The Dead Kennedys at the Belmont
Yeah, the Dead
Ballroom?
Kennedys. Yeah, I missed the Black Flag one at McLean, wherever I guess that happened, but. Yeah, the Dead Kennedys, the other one, what was it, Subhumans, I think you did, or UK Subs. Yeah, those shows, went to all those, and then, like I said, just those were like I said, I was older, so I had to stay home and work. I had, you know, bills to pay and stuff like that, so I couldn't go to LA, Frisco, or, you know, all that stuff like that. So my exposure was pretty much to the local punk scene and whatever bands came through that were willing to play at your place. And
So then at some point there, you became a gig promoter. And how did that happen?
I called up Dale Stewart to book his band, Capital Punishment, to do a cake party for me, because I was tired of going to these cake parties and hearing cover bands, and I wanted to hear punk rock, and I wanted everybody else to hear punk rock. So I called up Dale about doing this cake party I was interested in putting together, and Dale told me about these shows coming up, and that he was looking for somebody that maybe might want to take over the mantle, because he was kind of I believe you wanted to concentrate more on the band and not so much the headache of promoting and stuff. Though you know it was fun and stuff, but you know you had a new band coming up, and it was kicking ass. So you wanted to concentrate on that. So anyway, he persuaded me to do that, which was very interesting, and you know, at first I was kind of like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What do you mean? And I loved your help, that you were like, no, I'll just be back. I'll be here for you. You know, just give me a call whenever you need help or whatever. And that first show was the Fuck Ups, and the Fuck Ups, Captain America and the Avengers, Cambodian Kids, Verbal Abuse was at that show, yeah. But that was cool back in the scene, because I remember you telling me about it. So the line you had, I think that show pretty much lined up, and the next show was the Minor Threat show. You had that one pretty much lined up. So, but you were just looking for somebody to book it. So anyway, that's where I came in, and I found the Grange Hall in Easton, booked it under these were our clandestine days, but booked it as a homecoming party, I think, for somebody that was in the service. So that was, you know, the guy there was like, you got it, you kids, come on in.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I would tell them, they would say, well, what kind of music are you putting on? I'd say, country and western.
Oh, really?
All right, country and western. I love country and
Oh,
western.
I just always said rock, so, but we're just gonna have rock and maybe a DJ, just put on some records, whatever. And the guy was like, okay. So anyway, rented the place out. At that time, I was working with the unemployment check, which wasn't very much back in those days. And I remember you telling me about certain people. So we went around. I guess it was like, this is the early GoFundMe days, but go around and ask somebody, hey, you want to pitch in for this show? I need to raise up some rent money, and I'll guarantee you and a guest in, and I'll get your money back at the end of the night.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. I can't give you no profit or nothing. But
I did the same.
So a lot of people were like,
people to donate to get the money together to put a show, and it would only take 2 or 3 people, and then you got your own money, and then it just took a couple.
So basically, basically it was just asking people for that to take care of the rent, and then the rest was flyer money, gas money.
I remember Red John helped out in that way several times.
Yeah.
He donated some money or a PA or a place to practice.
Yeah, but that was
people were really into helping each other at the time because we believed in the punk rock.
Oh yeah. You wanted to get it some ground, get it some something going, and a little bit more steadier, I think. But yeah, the first 2 gigs were pretty much the first 4 shows maybe were done that way. Just like I said, back in the day, the GoFundMe.
Yeah, so the first one was December 4th of '82.
Yep, the fuck ups.
At the Houston Range Hall. And the second one was April 5th, 1983, at the Fulton House. And that was a big one because that had Minor Threat, Capital.
Yeah, that was Minor Threat.
NBJ, Cambodian Kids, and
Death of Glory. Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And Eric Suda was playing drums there.
Yeah.
He had moved over to Central Coast.
Yeah. In fact, I met one of my best friends ever. I met, he was a guitar player, Kirk Sampson.
Kirk Sampson.
Yeah, I was the first time I ever met him that night, and we just like, boom.
Guitarist from Wimpy Days.
Yeah, guitarist. Yeah, he ended up becoming a guitarist for Wimpy Days. Yeah, I love it.
Your next gig
That was a fun show.
was, your third gig was April 28th, 1983 at the Park Theater in Selma.
Yep.
And that was when you started getting your own venues together and you said, hey, I can get some venues down here in Selma.
Yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, the first 2 shows you had pretty much, the band's pretty much there. I just had to find the venues and do the footwork. And then, yeah, after that, I think a few months after that, I had some time to feel confident in myself to approach people and approach the guy in Selma, of all places, the old Park Theater. I used to go as a little kid and watch movies. But anyway, that was originally a Black Flag show.
Originally, yeah.
Yeah. And then, in fact, we had the flyers up and everything. It was being on KK on Maximum Rock and Roll. It was broadcast as a Black Flag show, and then I think maybe a week or 2 before the show, they sent out a mailer to everybody that they were canceling. I guess that was during the time the Going Black. We had the fallout with Colgate Company because of the Black Flag.
Yeah.
So they just went to bars. They blacked out everything that said Black Flag.
Mm-hmm.
So that show got canceled with Black Flag, but I already had the hall lined up.
Yeah.
And in that meantime, I had started meeting people that were interested in their bands playing in Fresno, and they were getting a hold of me. So got a hold of one of my favorites at the time was Social Unrest, and they were all into it. I'm like, yeah, come on over. And
from the East Bay.
Yeah, up north, wherever they were from.
So they stepped in and they headlined, and I really liked playing there because it was such a big stage.
Yeah,
and it was a cool building.
Yeah, it sounded great in there. It was really good, and it was so big, but our scene was so small. It just seemed crazy. It was just a little speckle of people for this big old place, but it sounded great. You guys sounded great on stage.
And then just a few months later, in July of '83, we moved over and did some gigs at the Portuguese Hall on Nebraska out there.
These were the days where we were still just scouting around. I was, just we were just out looking for halls, and Selma happened to be where I grew up, and South Portuguese Hall was someplace I knew about, and like I said, the confidence was there already, so I approached the people, and this time I did tell them it was a hard rock. I didn't say actually punk rock. I think I said hard rock, and
We didn't say it was country.
Yeah. But this was it wasn't mom and dad's rock and roll either. So
right, they kind of knew.
Yeah. At that time I was like getting more where I was, no, I want to do this, and here's a.
Well, that was kind of a weird place because it was no walls. It was a
open air,
and a dance floor,
open air,
and some tables.
Yeah, it was like an open air picnic spot.
Yeah, open air, kind of.
Yeah.
But then they had a snack bar in the back.
Snack bar in the back. They could open up. That's where we set the PA up and stuff like that. And I think we were selling even sodas at the time. I'm not sure. I think we tried that at one time.
But we had some really good bands that played there.
Yeah.
NBC. Did NBC actually come and play?
That was a Rachel show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They did play because I remember them. That's why I knew that wasn't my shows, because we went to Rachel's house afterwards there in Selma.
But you helped her with the show.
Oh yeah.
You were there and you were basically holding her hand, showing her how to do it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And Vicious Bunnies was on the bill.
Yeah, Jerry. Fat Jerry, Sean, and Corrine, and Gilbert. I can't remember his last name.
Gilbert R. Gilbert.
Yeah, R. Gilbert. Yeah, R. Gilbert.
And we have
Yeah, that was fun. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then,
I had somebody take pictures of it, and I'm sure I have other pictures, but I just don't know where they're at.
over there, I have one more there at the Portuguese Hall, and this
we did.
one I remember was Sin 34.
Yeah, Sin 34. That
The
was awesome.
Faction, Capital Punishment, and a couple of local.
America. What was the other one? America's Hardcore.
America's Hardcore,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good band. That was actually all those bands were. That was awesome. I like that show.
Yeah, Sin 34 is
Yeah,
really
Sin-
cool. The girls,
Yeah, I like that. Something about a girl singing punk rock that's just
if they're good,
awesome.
man, they can be
Yeah.
so dynamic. And the Faction. Oh man,
Faction
we
were
had
good.
the Faction here. They were so cool. They had that big skater in it.
Steve Caballero.
Yeah.
They just played San Jose.
Oh, they're still together.
Yeah, once in a while, you know.
Still,
Yeah. Hey,
After all these years.
Gotta
And
keep
then
it-
My band played, and that was one of our.
gotta
best
keep
gigs.
it alive. Gotta keep it alive. Yeah.
And then after that, then you moved over to the Wild Blue Yonder.
Oh yeah.
And you did a gig there.
Forgot about those.
Personality Crisis from
Yeah,
Canada.
Did Personality Crisis. Did 2 shows there. That and then Naked Lady Wrestlers. I think right after that.
Yeah.
That was still back in the day when
August.
Nazi Bitch and the Jews were around. I think Nazi Bitch and the Jews played at the Personality Crisis show. And yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, probably.
And then from there, you made the move to the Knights of Columbus Hall.
Yes.
Where that was the home.
I love that. Yeah, that was.
How did you like putting on gigs at Knights of Columbus
That
Hall?
almost-
You were there for like 3 or 4 years.
maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
I know. I'm putting flyers together right now, so I'm kind of getting the idea of like. I didn't think it was that many, and then now that I'm putting all these flyers together and looking at the dates, I'm like, damn, there was quite a few spread out. Yeah, Knights of Columbus. That place almost didn't happen. I booked the Special Forces show, I think. And again, using the ruse, this is a coming home party, I think, from somebody from the war or whatever. And I think it was maybe a week before the show, and I get this phone call, and Carol's on the phone, and she's like, hey, Art wants to talk to you. Art Olson was the manager at the time for the Knights of Columbus. Hey, Vince, I need to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, what's up, Art? And, well, this coming home party you got going on? And I was like, yeah. I really appreciate you helping me out. And then all of a sudden he just comes out and says, well, Vince, I've got a flyer here in my hand, and there's some kind of a punk rock show or something like that. And I'm like, oh shit! Like, in my head I'm thinking like, oh fuck, this is it. I'm toast. I'm done. So we started talking, and I really don't. I mean, it's kind of weird. I guess I kind of spilled out where it was just like I was an older guy. Like again, I don't have mom and dad's money where they were setting me up to get the hell out of the house, go to Frisco, go to LA, check out all these bands. I was working. But I love this music, and I wanted to hear it myself. And at the same time, there were kids around here in town that were poor, not as advantaged, that were into the scene too. And I wanted someplace for them to come to, where we could all enjoy it and a good atmosphere, in a safe spot. And I was gravitating towards more something like that. And anyway, by the end of the conversation, I don't know what more I actually said, but and it was the thing about just young kids need a place to go. They need a place to go to enjoy themselves and blah blah blah. And I remember one of his lines was like at the end he was like saying, you know what, maybe I've kind of maybe forgotten what it's like to be young again. He says, you know what, I'll give you a try. A lot of the other members really don't like this, but I'm gonna talk to them. We'll give this a try. I'll give you a try. And they hung up the phone. And Carol, my girlfriend at the time, Carol Levine, was just like staring at me, stunned, kind of like, I don't know. She was like, I can't believe the shit that comes out of your mouth sometimes. It's like, well, it's on, and it's on. It's on. So, anyway, long story short, Special Forces, I think, was on stage playing. Some shit had gotten busted in the restroom, and one of the barmaids comes up to me, and Vince tells me, Vince, Art wants to talk to you. He's in the office. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, well, here it comes. Anyway, walk into the office, and he's all, well, have a seat, sit down, and he closes the door and walks back around to his side of the desk. And I'm sitting there thinking the worst, like, okay, well, how much more is he going to hit me up for, and da-da-da. Sits down real calmly. He says, "Well, Vince Barella." I was like, "Yeah, Art." He opens up his calendar, very slowly, just opens it up and says, "What other dates would you be interested in?" And from then on, it was just beautiful. I can't say enough. Art was I wish he was still alive. Art was just cool.
It was nice.
Yeah,
It was nice.
and he went to bat for me and or us. Countless times that people don't know about that all the other members of the club wanted to shut it down. They didn't want anything more to happen.
Yes.
And he was there. Nope, we're there. We want a nice, safe place for the kids. In fact, we've had, and I think if you mentioned in the Fresno Bee article, it was like he had more trouble at weddings and quinceañeras than he ever did with the punk scene.
Yeah.
Bathrooms got bashed in the first few times. Kids being kids, and that's it goes with it. He never sweated it. He's like, I'll just take care of it. I'll just take, I'll take $80, $100 out of the deposit or whatever. And but it's no problem. I get my handyman to work. He keeps my handyman busy, and for a number of years, he put up with a lot of stuff. Jerry cut himself on stage. Who was it? The Vandals, I think, were threatening to sit down, and because we were shut down too early. Because at that time, I couldn't have the place past midnight. We had to shut it at midnight. So.
Yeah.
And there was a few times a couple of bands were like, "Hell no, we won't go." They want to keep playing.
Yeah, they want to keep playing. No, we got to shut down. That's our agreement with Art.
Yeah,
but Art, I think
Art. Well, a couple of times he did let the band go. A couple of bands he did let. I think he did enjoy the energy that was there, and he did say, piss on, let it go half an hour more.
But I think the bottom line for Art was you could deliver the audience.
Yeah.
You would bring 100 or 200 people there in the club.
And thank God.
Each one of them would pay $5.
And thank God to all the borracho punk rockers out there too, because they kept that bar alive.
Hey. Next up, Bloodlord, San Francisco Zone. Remember, June 22nd, Friday night, 8 p.m., same place, same channel. The Afflicted, Capital Punishment, Forever Grey, and Think Tank.
In fact, like I told you, this kid I just saw the other day and gave me a big old hug. "Oh man, thanks. That was always so cool." So I always appreciated that, and it was really touching. But I didn't. I got to the point too. Also with the Knights of Columbus, that it got to be that it can't be Art. Actually, what I think it was is trust. I trusted him. He trusted me.
He knew you were up front with him. You were not deceptive, and
right. And I think
you would listen to what he said.
Yeah.
And you try to abide by him.
It got to the point where I didn't even have to have money to rent the hall. He would just basically front it out to me and say, "Okay, just pay me at the end of the night."
Yeah.
I was like, "Cool."
Because he knew you'd bring an audience and things would be taken care of.
And I'd do all my best, and even sometimes where, I lost money. There'd be sometimes where we didn't maybe get the draw, and I'd have to, throw in maybe, $50, $100, here and there. But it was. But then at the time too, it was like, I used to spend money like that on way more foolish stuff, and so that was.
Sure.
This was something I loved.
Okay, so after we got to those first few gigs at the Knights of Columbus, and you got established as a gig promoter, then the better, bigger bands from out of town started coming by, and you started looking them. And I remember one in particular was from New York City, Reagan Youth.
Right, Reagan Youth.
And then Meat Puppets who were pretty big too. So you want to talk about some of those gigs there?
Well, like I said, I think most of those, some of the East Coast bands, I think were pretty much maybe, I don't know, I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I want to say that it was word of mouth, that the bands that were coming through Fresno were getting treated right. They were just, I wasn't very hospitable as far as like providing rooms or place to crash or anything, but I mean, if they were guaranteed a certain amount of money, they were paid a certain amount of money. They were paid that money. And so I think some of the other bigger bands, like I said, like Meat Puppets, I think I was introduced to, or they were led to me by SST Records. And at the time, Chuck Dukowski was doing a lot of the actually, yeah, doing a lot of the on-hands booking and stuff. So I was talking to him on the phone. He'd heard about just, like I said, that that just the whole thing that bands were treated well coming to Fresno.
And Chuck Dukowski, who was he?
Bass player for Black Flag, and SST Records, yeah.
And he was doing booking of a lot of the bands on SST.
Yeah, I guess that SST Records was starting to book their roster of bands. So he called me up, and we started doing business together. And I don't even know how that happened. I just remember all of a sudden I was getting calls from SST Records, and a certain band was coming through, and if I could accommodate them, and if we were lucky enough to grab them, we did.
And how did those shows go? Those ones.
Actually, the Meat Puppets is an interesting one because that was still back in the days before the first Meat Puppet show was before any Nights at Columbus. So I was still booking here and there, wherever. Yeah, this was a artist loft. I don't even remember meeting the guy. He had a loft artist place, and he was willing to open it up. I did a 2-day show there. I think first day was Naked Ray Gun from Chicago. They rolled through. The next day was the Meat Puppet show.
Yeah.
Well, the night before we had gotten shut down by the cops, and I was hoping that they didn't know about the next day's show, but apparently they did. So we were still trying to pull off that one, and they showed up again, and nope, it ain't happening. So they shut it down right from the start. Carol and I waited there till the Meat Puppets showed up, and of course they were up in their van and like, hey, what's going on? And well, it's not going to happen. And they were like, well, I guess we're not going to get paid, right? And I was like, no. I think at the time I guaranteed them, like, it was a silly amount, $300. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, I guess we're not going to get a guarantee. And I was like, well, I got $285, if that'll help. They're like, really, dude? Like, really? And I'm like, yeah. Here, I wish I had the other 15, but I'm totally tapped out, man. And they're like, don't even worry about it, dude. Don't even worry about it. And I think it was Kurt or somebody. He says, you know what? He said, we're going to Frisco. We're going to play in Frisco. Then we're off to Japan for a tour for a while. When we get back, we'll talk to Chuck or whoever it was at SST. He goes, you know what? We'll play Fresno again for you.
And that's when they came
when we come back, we'll play for you again.
Back and played at
and he says that we'll play for you for $300. And I was like, no shit. We shook on it. And by the time they got back, they were already like a big time group, making good money, accolades all over the place. And I was surprised that when Chuck called me about them they were going to go through California again, and they wanted to play Fresno, that they were adamant that they were going to play for $300. No, nothing else.
They could get a lot more than that.
Oh, at that time they were starting to demand $1,500, $1,000.
Yeah.
Easily.
Big,
yeah. So I was, and again, that goes back to being up the front with who you're dealing with.
Yeah. When you're nice to the musicians, a lot of times they will reciprocate.
And in those days, when they were a band, you're that's your lunch money or your gas money to the next place, and the difference between eating at a Denny's or going to the store and buying bologna and a loaf of bread.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Toy dolls. After SST, I met Gary Tobar at a GBH show in La Casa in Santa Barbara. Went to a GBH show down there. I happened to be standing next to a tower of speakers, I think as you're facing the crowd, was that stage, right? Okay, yeah, and some kid had jumped off the tower and it came loose. So I just naturally jumped up there and I was like, holding on to it. And I look over to the side, and there's another guy on the other side holding on to something because shit was going all over the place. The GBH was on, and the crowd was going nuts. And later on, I was talking to Gary on the phone. I can't remember what show. I don't know if it was Toy Dolls or another show. And I mentioned, the guy had already seen his picture, and kind of like, I saw you, and blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, you were that dude holding up that other tower. And I was like, yeah. But that was all we had ever saw of each other. It was always on the phone.
Well, you did make that connection.
Yeah, and it was years later when he wanted to bring the Ramones into town. He called me up, hey, well, what can you do? What place can we get? And da-da-da. So pretty much did the legwork for Golden Voice, setting up the Ramones show. And that was the first time we met, that he flew in from LA, came in, and we shook hands and met
Gary
Yeah,
Tovar.
Gary Tovar of Golden
The
Boys. Yeah.
legendary
Yeah.
Golden Boys.
Yeah. Golden Boys. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's still going today, right?
I believe I think he's sold his part of that. I think somebody else owns it now. But yeah, he was the shit back then. So he actually flew in to, like make sure the money was paid out, and he just wanted to meet. And actually, I just kind of just wanted to meet, and it was pretty cool.
And so you helped run the Ramones show at the Wilson Theater.
Yeah.
And you have an interesting story
put everything together
about,
there.
Joey Ramone.
Yeah, Joey. Yeah, Joey. I got sitting back in the dressing room. Gary and I were smoking some weed, and the guy comes walking back. Somebody had to take Joey to KKDJ. KKDJ had a.
That was Campus High.
No, KKDJ had a on-air interview with Joey, and they needed somebody to take him. And so Gary was kind of asking him, who do you know to take? And I was like, well, I've got time, I can take him. And sure, so go down to the Radisson or whatever it was, pick up Joey Ramone. And I was walking out, I looked at Jimmy Hayes, who was I guess your roadie, and ended up being a lead singer for Capital Punishment, Strychnine, any other bands. Anyway, Jimmy, come on, let's go. Well, where are we going? I said, we're going to go pick up Joey Ramone. So we go over there, and at the time, my girlfriend, Jenna, had this little 71 Toyota Corolla, or some little four-door little Toyota. Anyway, we went down to the thing. We go up there and find Joey Ramone. We go up to the room, and Joey's not there. His manager's like, what the hell? I'm like, you guys got an arcade room back in here? I was like, yeah, there's a pinball machine place down there. He's like, okay. So we walk down there, and there's Joey Ramone standing over a pinball machine with his rose-colored sunglasses on, or glasses on, and I got introduced to him, and hey, these guys are taking you to the radio station, and so there we go. We get in the car now. The only thing I got told by the management was like, whatever you do not stop at a liquor store. On the way over there or on the way back. You do not stop at the store. It's to the radio, back to the venue. Like, okay, you got it. So there we go. We got Joey Ramone, and he's sitting in the front seat. His knees were up to his fucking chin because he's so tall and lanky. And we're going down 41, and I'm looking back in the rearview mirror, and Joey's got, Jimmy's got his two thumbs up, like, fuck yeah. We're cruising along, and I'm talking to Joey Ramone. My fucking hero.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'd seen something on MTV a while back. He got interviewed about, well, what does Joey Ramone do on his days off, on his time off? And he was like, I go out to check out bands, I like to see the local talent, and da-da-da. So we were talking about that. And he said, yeah, it's true. And so we were kind of small talking all the way to the radio station. We get there. Okay, come in. Hey, I'm Vince Morella, Valley Hardcore Booking. I'm here with Joey Ramone. We're here for an interview or something like that. And, oh, yeah, come on in. And we get ushered in, and remember the door opening, and Jimmy walks in, and he pops down the side and sits there on the bottom. And Harlan Winslow was there. He's the voice of Fresno, whatever. He set up the microphones and da-da-da. And so I went to go sit down on the side by Jimmy. And then Harlan's like, hey, no, what are you doing? You sit over here. I'm setting up the mic for you. You're sitting here, and Joey's sitting here. And in my head, I'm thinking, holy shit, like what? Like, really? And so we get up there, and so of course we talk about the show. Oh, Ramone's playing in town, and da-da-da. And and Valley Hardcore Booking, and yeah, well, we got a chance to work with them. We're working with Golden Boys, bringing the Ramones into town, and da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, Harlan's like, looks at Joey and is like, well, what does Joey Ramone do on his days off, on his time off? And Joey looks at me and kind of winks and goes off and tells me, oh, it's the same thing, like what he had just told me. Like, yeah, he likes to go out and just check out the local talent, blah, blah, blah. And we had that connection. But I couldn't believe I was sitting there being interviewed on the radio with Joey Ramone. And that, I think, is the highlight, one of the highlights of
your career as a gig.
Of a promoter, yeah, being a promoter. It's like, and I met other people.
What's some of the other people?
Camper Van Beethoven guy.
Camper Van Beethoven.
Lowry, I think his name was. And he ended up doing another, I guess, pretty good band, but he was just very personable, cool guy. The Toy Doll guys, those guys were hilarious.
Yeah.
They were really fun.
Now the Toy Dolls gig, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, that one too.
At another venue
Eagles.
where you usually didn't put on shows there.
That was at Eagles Hall, yeah. Eagles Hall. That was when we needed something a little bit
downtown,
a little bit big,
Ness.
something a little bit bigger than the Knights.
Yeah, for the Toy Dolls because they had a bigger draw.
And actually, that was I think the first one was was it Toy Dolls or Black Flag? I can't remember which one was on the list, which one came first, but Yeah, that.
You put on a couple of shows.
Yeah, and that was
at the Eagles Hall.
that was through Golden Voice too. Golden Voice had set up a tour with that band, and they were coming through, so he needed to fill up some dates, and that was a badass show. That was that was really fun. They wanted to steal my brother. They wanted my brother because he was keeping everybody off the stage.
Yeah,
and he was like, no, we want that guy. We want to take that guy. And Andy's, I don't know why Andy didn't go, but But yeah, that was fun.
Show was Toy Dolls, Capital Punishment, and Burning Bob.
Burning Bob at the Big Boy, yeah.
And I remember Burning Bob remembers that show with great pride. That was one of his biggest achievements to play.
Yeah, they sounded good.
And the Fresno Beat did a gig right after.
Yeah, that was really a blast. That was. Yeah, that one. Black Flag also was when I finally got to put them on that was interesting. Eagles Hall, because they kept rolling in, and I didn't realize it at the time, but they had their own union electrician and sound man, and this the whole big old, they had the band, and then one truck for all their sound equipment, and the other band for I don't know what else, and equipment or whatever. So they roll in, and okay, we're here, and where do we set up? And I showed them the stage, and they were looking at the power jacks, and they go, is this what we're? And I was like, yeah, that's what we got to work with. And the guy was shaking his head. He's like, this ain't gonna work, man. He goes, we run. I don't know. I'm not good with it. Just something bigger. The 240, 280, I don't know whatever it is, but
220.
So anyway, the electrician kid comes up and goes, hey, where's the power box? Where's the circuit box? And I was like, oh, it's back here. We go there and look at it. And he's looking at it and blah blah with this other guy, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, you know what? I don't even know what the hell you guys are gonna do. I don't want to know. Just make sure it gets put back the way it's supposed to be put back at the end of the night. And they're like, okay, yeah, we can do it. They took off the damn circuit panel, and I don't know how they redid it, but the Black Flag show had these big old giant fucking bottom end bass and mid range and tweeters, and I remember walking outside just feeling that building vibrate and pulsating, and just thinking like, man, this place is gonna come apart. It's all brick building and stuff, and then at the same time I was thinking about their little power thingy. I was thinking, man, it's just probably fucking spinning like crazy. And that when this place gets the bill at the end of the month, they're gonna wonder where the hell did that juice come from. But anyway, those guys whipped ass, and the electrician guy put everything back together at the end of the night. And
cool.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
But
At the
and unfortunately that show was not supposed to have glass containers anywhere near the stage, and of course the borrachos got to have their beer, so they somehow a beer bottle ended up. At that time, Henry Rollins had some animosity with certain circles of the punk scene. I don't know. Certain people loved them, other people couldn't stand them. I myself liked Black Flag before they brought Henry Rollins on. I wish they would have had somebody else, but
yeah. Do you remember anything about the Vandals gig at the Knights of Columbus Hall? That would have been May of '85.
They were the one of the bands that didn't want to stop playing.
Yeah.
They're telling everybody to sit down. They're not going nowhere. We're going to play some more.
Yeah, they want to fuck up the venue.
It's like,
you won't let us do something, so we'll fuck up the venue.
Yeah, they wanted to be vandals.
It's like, don't you guys want to come back here and play again? We're paying you. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It cause shit.
Punk rock. That was one of the prima donnas.
Yeah, well, thank God you never booked the Dwarves.
Yeah, the Dwarves would have been. Yeah, that would have been like. That's why I'm kind of glad I was booking shows when Circus Bogus, my favorite band in the whole wide world, was doing shows too, because they made a fucking mess. But they rocked.
But theirs was a happy mess.
Yeah.
I just loved having you as a friend at the time. I really appreciated it because you were such a cool guy. I was like, man, these guys. And then with Carol, you guys were such a cool couple, and then me and Jocelyn were a couple. It was like we shared an affinity.
Yeah, Jocelyn's from Kingsburg, Carol's from Kingsburg. So we just all love punk rock. Like you said, we just thought we hit it off.
Yeah,
we hit it off.
It was cool.
And I think that was part of it. And like I said before, I was part of the clique too. I was always, like I said, I went to every chance I found out about you guys doing something or something going on at the warehouse or something's going on, I'd show up. But I always loved that sound you guys had, or the Capital Punishment sound. There's just certain types of punk rock sound that just, I like.
Yeah.
But,
So we played a lot of gigs for you, and we enjoyed those gigs.
yeah, you guys were always willing to. Yeah, you guys were always willing. Like I said, we had a few detractors that were, Capital Punishment again, but the majority of the people were, most of the people were like, fuck yeah, another show.
And then here we've got Iconoclast, A State of Mind, and Think Tank. Now those are what I would call the peace activist bands. And what were those shows?
Real fun. It's different bands. I mean, they're pretty much still punk rock, but it was just, their message of not being mean to animals and the whole veggie thing, and being responsible for your planet and all that stuff that should have mattered a whole lot more. That we're starting to find out now. It's going to bite us in the ass. But
it was really nice because that really made a lot of the punk gigs redeeming because there was this positive.
At that time too, there was a time where I was getting stuff from people. We want to play this band. We want this band to come into town, and sometimes it didn't jive with their schedule, so we couldn't bring them in. There was other bands where I particularly just didn't care for them. And there were other bands that, like I said, Iconoclast was different at the time. They were, they didn't have the whole get drunk, type of lyrics and stuff. They had a different real message, and it was, always cool to bring some new bands in that were doing something cool.
Another interesting one, July 1985, DRI and the Detonators.
Yeah, Detonators. Yeah, they're a good band.
I really like the Detonators.
Yeah.
Juan,
yeah,
the guitarist, and who's the other guy?
I don't remember the other guys. I know they rocked out. That was a pretty good band. What was the other one played with them?
DRI.
Yeah, DRI. The bastards. They're good. They're good guys.
No,
I like them a lot.
Oh.
Let's say that's what I like. I like.
Oh.
Fucking Rowdy.
Okay. Yeah. I remember DRI had that 7-inch that had 23 songs.
Yeah, just real boom, 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 boom. Yeah, just. Yeah, Detonators were a real good band. I never really heard much after them after that.
The Fuck Ups came back again.
The Fuck Ups, yeah.
Harsh Reality,
Ross Zebra, band from L.A.
What were they like? I don't even remember seeing them.
Ooh. Can't remember. I think they were girls, all girls. Well, wait, I think the drummer was a guy. I think. I can't remember, but I just remember something about their sound I liked. So they came a little, I guess, part of since I had the Liberty, they were a band I brought back a couple of times, but I just happened to like their stuff.
Yeah, DRI came back again just a few months later and played at Knights of Columbus with Ministry of Truth.
Yeah, Ministry of Truth. I think they were Vancouver band, I believe. They stayed with us for a couple of days. A few days, actually. I think they had car trouble, so they ended up camping out with us at Carol's Mine apartment at the time.
Here in 1986, you did a few more shows here in 86. Corrosion of Performance, Harsh Reality, Front.
Yeah.
Knights of Columbus.
Yeah, that's when the bands started getting, there's more the heavy metal, I guess, heavy metal punk mix.
Yeah.
And the COC was a big old part of that. I remember I used to catch shit when they first came. People were like, "This ain't fucking punk rock. It's fucking heavy metal." It's like, well, what the fuck do you think punk rock is, stupid? So the little crossover. And I don't know. COC and I ended up becoming really kind of cool with each other. I don't know if they really remember me or anything at all, but I remember a few times going with you guys to the farm. When you guys were playing, and COC was on the bill. And I guess I shouldn't say anything. Yeah, we some bartering for T-shirts and whatnot, but anyway, they ended up becoming really cool.
Really did. I think they were on MTV.
Yeah, they're big time right now. They're still touring. Yeah, they're still touring. Yeah. Interesting story about them. I went to my baby brother got into trouble in Seattle. Went up there for a 3-day trip. Took my mom up there for a 3-day trip to take care of some business with him. Happened to be reading the paper, one of those local music magazines, and come across a Paramount Theater, and COC's playing there. Like, what? Today? What the fuck? And so, Mom, We'll be right back. We're just downtown Seattle. You pretty much walk every place. So I walked down to the Paramount Theater, and walk up to the front door and knock on the door, and this, like not hippie, punk rocker, hardcore looking guy comes walking up, and of course I don't look anything at all punk rock. I look like, Native American, hope, whatnot guy. So anyway, come knocking on the door, and hey, COC here, or Walter, or Reed, or Pepper, and these guys around, and the guy looks at me like, kind of like, hey, can you get a hold of him for me? He's like, looks at me kind of like, yeah, right. Yeah, no, tell him Vince Barella wants to talk to him from Fresno. He looks at me, I kind of like, yeah, right. So he turns around, walks away, and I'm like, thinking like, you fucking asshole. And all of a sudden he comes kind of jogging back to the door when on his way back. Like, oh yeah, come on in, yeah, they're right back here. So I walked back in there, and I think there was Walter or Reed or somebody was down in the green room in the wherever in the building, and so where's the other guys at? And they're like, oh, they're out in the van, hobnobbing with the fans and stuff. So like, okay, well, I'm gonna go say hi. And so there I go again, and then everybody's kind of looking at me like, who the hell is this guy? It's like everybody's rocked out, they're Mohawks and that shit, and I'm walking through just like a fucking Fresno country rube, and I walk up to the truck, and there's all these chicks there, and they're in line, and go walking in like, hey, another roadie guy again, like, who the fuck are you? And I was like, I'm here to talk to Pepper and these guys and blah blah blah. Who are you? Vince Barella. Tell him. They walk in, and he comes back. Oh yeah, come on in, man. It's good everybody. Yeah, come on in. So I walk back there and talk to the guys, and I'm like, hey Vince, what the hell? What are you doing up here? And like, nothing, just happened to run across. Like, what the hell, you guys? And are you gonna come to see our show tonight? Like, no, I got my mom. We gotta head back tonight. And well, we're playing in Fresno day after tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I know. And hey, we got you on the list. And like, sure, okay, I'll see you guys then. But yeah, anyway, CLC is one of my favorite bands too, besides you guys and Circus Bogus, as far as rock bands. But CLC rocks.
Go
local
name
bands.
Off some of these local bands, and you can talk about your memories of them. Cambodian Kids.
Cambodian Kids. Short-lived, but really, really just fast and ferocious, fun band. I guess. I remember my best friend, another best friend that I met through the punk scene, and this one was at your warehouse. I think it was a Minor Threat NBC show. I'm going off here, but Dominic was the lead singer for Cambodian Kids. Originally, and I met him. I was sitting back in the back couch. You had a couch up against the rollaway door there in the back. I remember sitting back there, and I've always been a pothead, so I was back there, and I lit up a joint, and here comes this little kid walking up to me. Hey, can I have a hit of that? Well, yeah, sure. And he saddles up next to me, and we're sitting there smoking a joint. Well, that was fucking Dominic.
Dominic Defendus.
Dominic Defendus. Yeah, we ended up becoming really fast friends, and one of my best buds. Rest in peace, Dom. But
he passed away.
So that was I think Sean Baird played guitar.
Yeah.
Cambodian Kid.
No, he was drummer.
Drummer then. Okay, yeah. Drummer.
And Jeff Higgins was guitar.
Jeff Higgins. Didn't Jeff end up becoming drummer? I remember somebody named Styx. Okay. But yeah, that was I think they lasted a few shows, and then they branched off all to, like I said, Sean became numerous other bands.
Do you remember anything about that band from Madera with Mike Waldhart,
Death Camp, yeah.
Or Mike Waldhart.
Yeah, Mike Waldhart. Yeah, Mike.
The Madera crowd, those guys.
Yeah. Not Primer Gray. Not Primer Gray. I think the Top Dead Center. Yeah, TDC.
Yeah, Big Jim Olive.
Big Jim Olive. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, those guys were a big help in the early. They were always. Yeah, they were. Yeah, PA for the gig. They were always. Yeah, before I got anything of my own, they were always just willing to jump in. Yes, Jim. Yeah.
Fun bunch of people.
Yeah, great people.
They were so helpful.
Yeah. In fact, I just.
Played a lot of games.
Yeah, I just friended and unfriended him on Facebook.
Yeah, he's a big old Republican guy.
Yeah.
And then
I give everybody a chance. Like I said, I can't bag on anybody until I experience it.
I'm the same way. I can hardly be friends with a Republican. But anyways, and then we have Erratic Behavior.
Erratic Behavior. That was that came out of after Burning Bob and the Big Boys broke up.
Sean Baird,
Cali Campaign, Mark Smith. he tried to, God bless his soul, tried to teach me bass and realized he made a mistake. I think somebody said, okay, I think the lead singer,
Craig Hardy.
Craig Hardy, but somebody had mentioned the other day that I think Dominic Defendis, I think, sang maybe first couple of shows with first
photo with
couple of shows, and then Dominic started getting too much into his, and eventually what got him, but and then Craig Hardy took over, yeah, interesting guy.
And Frigidettes, all girls.
Yeah,
The
Frigidettes,
only
always.
all-girl punk band from Fresno.
Yeah, always one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Always.
me too.
I
The
can.
world is in turmoil,
Yeah.
can you hear the people
It's like that.
cry?
Yeah,
The cost
yeah.
of living's rising,
Who was
and I'm too young
the
to
guitar player?
die.
Burnett? Gina. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
It was
like.
fun seeing her the other night.
I know. I felt like such a. What do they call it nowadays? Fanboy. Because I was sitting there, and every chance I could get, I was just like, oh my God, that's her, that's her in real life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember her from the very first that Rodent Park show. Actually, was
Yeah.
I was just smitten. Like, oh my God,
Oh,
who
yeah.
is that?
Yeah,
Too cool for me.
yeah. And Harsh Reality.
Actually, yeah.
I can't handle Ronald Reagan. Like the dwarf of the bed. It's our money in taking. Oh, no!
The Sad Boys.
Sad Boys.
Shut up and drink!
Sad Boys came along kind of after you.
Yeah, that's Rick Struhart, Mojo, Steve Daniels, John 32. No,
But you knew, you saw them play.
I think I booked them, didn't I? Yeah, they're towards the end. I'm pretty sure. They're on it. Either that or
I think you're right.
either that or just because I was a good friend of theirs too, so I was always seeing them play wherever they were playing. Yeah, they're towards the end.
They were one of the best Fresno punk bands.
Yeah.
They got really good.
Yeah.
Steve got good.
Tight.
They all got really good.
Yeah.
And Mojo was just.
Yeah.
And then they had the great song,
Yep, Shut Up and Drink, and what's the other one?
"Shut Up and Drink."
Shut Up and Drink. Yeah. There's a lot of good bands from Fresno. That's one thing I'm proud of. I guess I could say I'm proud of that. That out of all that, seeing some of the kids now that were, like I said, 15 years my junior, and now they're in bands and doing stuff, and I don't know, it's kind of cool seeing sometimes I go off, get a little corny. I call them my children, my little shits. I remember them when they were scrounging around trying to find somebody to buy them beer.
Okay, I'm gonna just name off some bands here and say if you want to say anything or not. Let's see. Cocktail Waitresses from
What was that band? That band was I would almost think that was like one of those mountain bands. It was along with was it Merlin and those guys?
No, that was, let's talk about them. That was Wawona Boys.
Okay, yeah, Wawona's Boy Car. They were cool. That was different.
Merlin.
Yeah. They did I think they played at the Wild Blue Yonder show.
Audio
One of those.
Terrorism.
Audio Terrorism was Dave Ewald, Larry Hobbs, I think.
Yeah, Larry Hobson.
Yeah, Larry Hobson. He had a clothing store here for a little while. It was right next door to what's now the Fred's or Audie's Olympic Tavern.
Olympic Tavern.
Yeah, it used to be sandwiched right there between Ming's and the Olympic Tavern. Yeah, that was early good, those early bands.
Abducted Children.
I don't really remember that much. And some of these bands were almost just 2 or 3 gig bands.
Fish Market.
Fish Market. Okay, now who?
Pam was the lead singer.
Yeah,
Dave Blaney played bass.
they were good.
Or no, I think Dave Blaney was the guitarist.
Like I said again, I'm not good with all that stuff, but I just remember. I remember them.
The only
I remember
thing
remember enjoying
about
them.
was playing the gig at the Rock. What was that called? The Rock Palace or something like that? The Rock House?
The Rock House, yeah, that was at that another Rachel DeMont show. That
With the Dead
45
Kennedys?
Grave was
Yeah.
it one night, and the Dead Kennedys was the next night, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fish Market. They played at the second Special Forces show, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that was a pretty cool band.
how about, I know this is probably before you got in Precinct, but the Maniacs, the two twin
Maniacs, I love them. Yeah, just like that, just the raw little kids having
I'm
fun,
18 out the
banging shit
door.
away.
I'm 18 out to
They got something
war.
to say, like, you know, and that goes back to, like, say, Frigidaires, Maniacs, Capital Punishment, the Fresno bands, I think, or the Valley bands that were represented on that Maximum Rock and Roll, the first album. That album to me is still, I mean, I can still put it on, and it is timeless. It still feeds to what bullshit is going on in the world today. It's still relevant to me. You know?
And Condemnation. Steve Simmons.
Yeah, combination. That was another, what, 2 or 3 gig band, I think. Or,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
they've been around for a while. But
they?
the thing I remember about them is that you get up on stage, the first thing you try to do is try to get the audience pissed off.
See, that was this goes back to that whole thing too. Like, okay, when I got into doing punk rock was because I wanted to see the bands that I couldn't go out of town to see. But it still turns out a lot of stuff I missed because while they were on stage, I had to be babysitting everybody or taking care of stuff. So a lot of stuff, you know, I remember hearing the bands. I could remember, like you said, Fish Market, Salem Nation, or Condemnation. I could remember like hearing them, and like I remember liking them. I can't really say I can remember hearing their tunes, but I remember by their name that I liked them. But it went back to that whole thing too, where you know, that I was taking care of shit.
And how about some of these really old bands? We might as well mention them. 666.
I think that was still
And Keith Calmey's
Still on the
bands,
coast.
Captain America and the Avengers and AD.
vaguely.
Yeah.
I remember more like the Subtractions, and that goes to the story too. See, before I actually got really into the punk scene, I was with that, like I mentioned before, I was with that band in Selma that I kept trying to say, you know, do original stuff. Let's, you know, work on some other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you can still do the weddings and do your covers like that, but we can still like maybe try to get something else going.
Yeah.
And they always refused. So I remember one time being at we were trying out a drummer, and there was this buzz going around like, oh, so and so, this kid Richard's coming over. This guy Richard's coming over. He's in a band. He's in a real cool band. But he's weird. And I was sitting there thinking like, what the? Okay, well anyway, we're, you know, partying and stuff, and everybody's inside. I remember walking out by the pool, me and somebody else were out there smoking weed. Oh, Richard's here. And I come walking in, like, who the fuck is this Richard guy? I'm interested. So I come walking in, and well, here comes Richard, and it's Richard Wyland. Right, you know, I've known since high school and stuff. Like, and he comes in, he's got his dark coat and real gothy looking, and like, ooh, and all these other people are like, you know, like, oh, Richard, you know, he's in the band. And I'm thinking like, Richard fucking Wyland. So I just like, hey Richard, what's up, man? Blah, blah, blah. Hey Vince, what's happening? And he takes off, and I'm like, I still didn't really know who the Subtractions were. But everybody, you know, he took off, and everybody's like, ooh, yeah. And this whole mystique about him. But later on, when I talked to him, I was like, fucking Richard, man. But that ended up, Subtractions are really
Yeah.
cool, fun.
Well, they're the foundation.
Where
There's no-
yeah. See, and I didn't know that at the time, so I was like, at the time, I was, you know, just feel at the same time, like, this is just Richard, dude.
Well, Richard Wyman was the proselytizer
But
number one.
but he was just,
The president of Clemson.
but then yeah, and but
He's the
then
one that got me in.
but then after getting to like reacquaint myself with them, then that was a whole different thing. Because like I said, we had known each other through high school, and he was like, I was from Selma, he was from Kingsburg. We were kind of like, he was one of we were like some of the black sheep of our own circle, because we weren't into all Foghat and the Judas Priest and the Uriah and the what the other ones? All those.
Journey.
Yeah, all that shit. Fucking
Yeah.
all that heavy metal stuff. That kind of heavy.
Pop rock.
Yeah, that whole.
Yeah, you guys loved it when punk came along because you guys were already into it through Alice Cooper and
MC5,
David Bowie.
Iggy Pop.
Yeah, the Stooges,
Fucking even just
New York Dolls.
even go as far back, even like, as a kid, like just Steppenwolf and all that.
Yeah, in the 60s.
Just
60s band.
yeah, there's a lot of good music. Yeah.
More
There's a lot more stuff too. There's a lot more stuff.
What did punk rock, that whole experience of the 1980s and punk rock, what does it mean to you now looking back? Or,
I like to envision it like at that time here in Fresno, a big exclamation point. Like maybe double exclamation points. Okay, we were just rocking out, and I don't know if I told you and I think I mentioned to somebody else that for a number of years afterwards it happened. It didn't seem like that as significant of a thing. I was just kind of like, it happened, and I was I did that. And it isn't until maybe a few years ago where I just all of a sudden started realizing, that wow, this was really a kick-ass time and punk rock time.
really
and then to hear from other people just how much it meant to them and how significant it was to them, and what they are now. It just seems really, just I'm awestruck sometimes. Like wow, I really was part of that. And before I was kind of like, like, oh, big deal. And now I'm kind of like, what? Fuck yeah. That was a fucking badass time. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going to own it now. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was involved with that. And it was fucking glorious. Best fucking time of my life. Do it again too, but whole different time now.